Let's begin with the most painful aspect, those thoughts you rarely voice, but which echo relentlessly in your mind as you watch the news. When you look at your boss or recall that inept leader who has guided you for years, it's perplexing how someone so unqualified, so mediocre, so hollow, has risen so high. What kind of world enables the least capable individuals to set the rules? And the worst part, why are you, the one who perceives more, understands better, and works harder, still confined to the lowest rung? This is not merely a rhetorical question. It's a deep, open wound. It's one of those uncomfortable truths that persist as you pretend everything makes sense, although it doesn't. None of this is accidental because the system isn't broken. It's built this way. You feel it, sense it, and every time a charismatic yet superficial person takes credit while you work tirelessly in silence, that feeling intensifies. Somewhere inside, you know that meritocracy is a fairy tale told to children, that the most talented don't necessarily succeed, but those who are loudest do, that the wisest don't rise to the top, but the one who best conceals their ignorance does. This realization gnaws at you because it contradicts everything you were taught that hard work leads to success. But that is a lie, a falsehood wrapped in diplomas, empty speeches, and hypocritical smiles. The reality is quite different. The truth is that power isn't won by those who truly know more, but by those who simply project the illusion of knowledge. In this harsh game, you find yourself losing because you doubt, second-guessing yourself at every turn. You carefully consider what to say. You analyze every move. Meanwhile, they act impulsively, risking everything without a second thought, and the world praises them for it. Do you understand why? Because most people cannot distinguish between genuine confidence and true wisdom. In a shallow world, appearances carry all the weight. Human nature, so predictable and easily manipulated, favors the loud, the smiling, the convincing, even if they have nothing of substance to offer. And if you feel a lingering sadness or anger right now, it's because you've been deceived for too long. You've been led to believe that the problem lies within you, that you need to believe in yourself more. Step out of your comfort zone, appear more confident, but how can you do that when every fiber of your being screams that incompetence is taking control? How can you play a game that despises depth and only rewards superficiality? Here, the darkness deepens, because this isn't a modern failure, nor is it a recent flaw of capitalism or democracy. It stretches back centuries, woven into history by a man who understood these rules more than anyone, a man who dared to voice what others dared to silence, Niccolo Machiavelli, the first to openly acknowledge it. That authority is not reserved for the virtuous, but for the cunning. Morality, in this context, is merely a convenient illusion. Politics, then, isn't driven by principles but shaped by perceptions. This understanding reveals the trap in a world where perception reigns supreme. Those most adept at manipulating how they are seen hold the real power. It doesn't matter if they lack competence. What matters is their ability to craft an image of competence. Human beings tend to choose not the best, but the one who provides them with a sense of security. And, my friend, that sense of security can be easily fabricated, extremely easy to do. This is where everything links to the Dunning-Kruger effect, collective psychology, and the basic human inclination to follow leaders. Even if those leaders offer little substance, what the mind craves is not necessarily truth, but emotional resonance, and who delivers greater emotional coherence than someone who never shows doubt. Even if they are wrong or uninformed, speaking confidently earns their trust. Meanwhile, you analyze, question, and scrutinize each detail before speaking. In the game of power, this becomes an obstacle because every doubt you carry is masked with a false smile, and every hesitation is replaced by empty words. The moment of truth arrives, dark and chilling. What will you choose to do with this knowledge? Will you surrender and join the shadows, or will you delve deeper, mastering the deadly game to survive its relentless grip? This isn't merely about politics. It's woven into the fabric of businesses, universities, and social media, haunting every corner of society. The cult of illusion has corrupted the very essence of our world, whispering and creeping into every moment. Recognizing the sinister reality is the first step. The quicker you see through the veneer, the faster you can move in the shadows with calculated purpose. But beware, this understanding is not a betrayal of your morals. It's not about becoming another hollow puppet. It's about opening your eyes to the darkness. True competition is meaningless if you lack the art of deception and presentation. The truth needs a mask to be heard, a disguise to survive in a world obsessed with appearances. Wisdom alone is meaningless amidst the spectacle. This message is more than reflection. It's a warning, a map through a treacherous world where the inept often rise to power. Yet, it's also an invitation, an urging to see beyond frustration, to recognize that history favors those who master the art of faking, and those who observe in silence, striking with surgical precision. This is not a plea of despair, but a cry of ruthless clarity. When you understand how the machinery of power moves in the shadows, when you see the invisible forces that hold it in place, you gain the power to shatter them from within. However, to confront this truth, you must first summon the courage to face the abyss head-on. Take a deep breath now, because what follows will not bring comfort, or we will examine why the most unqualified individuals ascend so high, how they do it, what mental snares they fall into, and most importantly, what you can do to cease being a silent pawn in the cruel theater of power. Prepare yourself. Once you see this, you will never view the world through the same eyes again. And honestly, that realization might be exactly what you need to understand. Now that your eyes are open, and you can no longer buy into the comforting lie of, if you work hard, you'll succeed. Let's delve even further. The issue isn't just with these inept leaders at the top. They are merely the visible symptom. What's truly terrifying is the invisible structure that keeps them there. Have you noticed how these mediocre figures manage to stay in power despite their disastrous decisions? How, despite repeated mistakes, they remain celebrated, rewarded, and copied? The answer is twisted. They have crafted trenches around their incompetence. Systems, people, narratives, all meticulously designed to preserve their place. And the most troubling part, they convince you that you're the one at fault. If only you tried harder, you could succeed. Yet, in reality, their failures are protected by an unseen architecture that ensures their continued dominance. Systems, individuals, and stories, all meticulously crafted to ensure they remain in their current state. The most insidious aspect, convincing you that doubting them makes you the one in the wrong. There's a rarely discussed concept that explains this phenomenon more than you'd expect: the normalization of mediocrity. When an unqualified person attains authority, they need to transform their lack of ability into the standard, rather than an exception. How is this achieved? Quite simply, by surrounding themselves with similarly mediocre, or even more so, people. Those who won't question them, challenge their authority, or make them uncomfortable. Individuals who value loyalty more than competence. Over time, what was once an anomaly becomes the norm. Mediocrity becomes institutionalized. The obedient are rewarded, while the talented face punishment. Gradually, the environment deteriorates. You, still possessing some awareness, may start to wonder if you are the one who doesn't fit in. Do you know what this psychological phenomenon is called? Cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort that occurs when your perceptions clash with your beliefs. How can he be leading this project if he doesn't even understand the basics? How is she the director if she refuses to listen and causes chaos? Yet, your surroundings accept these contradictions. No one speaks up. Everyone acts as if everything is fine, and so you remain silent. You adapt. You deceive yourself. And here lies the bleakest truth. When you become accustomed to someone else's mediocrity, a part of you quietly perishes. The saddest part is that you often don't realize it until one day you find yourself clapping for mediocre work, simply to belong, or lowering your standards so as not to disturb the fragile peace, or shirking from standing out because you've learned that it only invites trouble. What begins with an inept leader eventually transforms you into a cog in the machine. Mediocrity spreads not because it is appealing, but because the system rewards it. Those in power who settle for mediocrity prefer stability over progress. They reject truth in favor of silence, and you, painfully, start giving them what they want. Let's go even deeper. Consider a silent yet destructive mechanism, the illusion of merit that rewards obedience. In many workplaces and political settings, unwavering loyalty is prized more than genuine intelligence. Those who nod along, who echo the leader's words without question, are praised as efficient, cooperative, or exemplary. But in truth, they only serve to uphold the status quo. Authentic intelligence, that which challenges, reforms, or exposes inconsistencies, is seen as a threat, a form of rebellion, a sign of insubordination, and in the end, only those who conform survive, while the rest are left to fade into silence and obscurity. The individual who bows their head, who adapts, and who learns to remain silent when they should speak out. As a result, generation after generation, identical profiles are recreated, loyal mediocrities who will never challenge the system that shelters them. Here emerges another harsh reality that few dare to acknowledge: the revenge of the inept. Have you observed how the most insecure leaders often become the harshest towards others' talents? They do not act out of hatred for skilled individuals. Rather, they do so because their system has protected them. This phenomenon, rarely named, reveals how insecure leaders, feeling threatened by those more capable, respond with cruelty. They are reminded of what they will never be, and since self-improvement is out of reach, they choose to destroy, eliminating brilliance, mocking unconventional thinkers, stifling innovative ideas. None of this is accidental. It is a defense mechanism. Power rooted in incompetence is inherently paranoid, constantly fearing a takeover. Instead of evolving, it resorts to suppression. This reality is tangible, psychological, systemic, and widespread, found in governments, small offices, educational institutions, and creative teams alike. If you've ever felt the urge to diminish yourself just to belong, to make your ideas feel insignificant, or to believe your voice is an inconvenience, please know you're not losing your mind. You're merely witnessing the harsh reality of the system for what it truly is. Yet, despite this bleakness, all is not lost. Where there's explanation, there is also a way forward. This brings us back to you. What choices will you make with this knowledge? Will you succumb to cynicism? Will you become just another part of the disillusioned masses? Or will you choose a different, more difficult path, one that's slower and more demanding, but ultimately more meaningful? That path is called strategic competence. Success isn't just about brilliance. It's about knowing when to speak, how to speak, and to whom. It's about mastering the art of appearing engaged while staying true to your substance. It's about building influence without betrayals. Most importantly, it involves carefully shaping your circle. While mediocrity often thrives through networks, excellence can also persevere. But it requires greater effort, heightened awareness, and unwavering integrity. The true act of rebellion in a world that celebrates mediocrity is not loud protests or accusations. It's endurance. It's continuing to excel, to think, to create, even when no one notices, even when applause is absent. Because, ultimately, the system's foundation is fragile and bound to crumble from within. When that happens, those who remain steadfast will be the only ones equipped to rebuild from the ruins. If you've come this far, you already possess enough knowledge to choose your side when it all unfolds. But don't rush away just yet, because the most haunting part is still ahead. We're about to examine how human beings, often unwittingly, opt to be governed by those who manipulate them rather than those who truly understand them. And I promise, what's coming next will force you to see your own mind in a new, unsettling light. Are you prepared to feel even more discomfort? Good, because now we delve into the darkest recesses of this twisted system, the human craving for domination. Yes, you understood correctly. Even though it sounds paradoxical, even though it feels wrong, the harsh truth is that a part of us, a deeply primal part, yearns to be led. It desires someone else to make the choices. It longs for another to shoulder the burden. And that impulse, hidden beneath layers of rational thought, is what the misguided are able to exploit more effectively than anyone else. You don't need chains or threats, just the promise of security, or rather, the illusion of safety. Most people follow leaders not because of their wisdom, but because of their ability to exploit that hidden desire. Most people follow a leader not for their wisdom, but for the illusion that everything is under control. That false sense of security becomes more addictive than the harsh truths that haunt us. Truth is a brutal companion, demanding thought, demanding action. While false comfort lures us into a cocoon of soothing lies, it's in this darkness that imposters creep, those who lack real answers, but wield a commanding voice. Those who have no vision, only empty catchphrases. Those who possess presence but lack depth. And here lies the sinister truth. Our collective mind prefers this facade. Why do we surrender to the charlatan who knows nothing but sounds convincing, while shunning the challenger who threatens our comfort, awakens our fears, and exposes our vulnerabilities with piercing honesty? Because hidden within us is a primal terror of uncertainty, greater than even the dread of ignorance. A charismatic fool offers us false absolutes, illusions built on nothing but smoke and mirrors. Neuroscience reveals a chilling fact: the human brain craves emotional certainty, not truth. This means we cling to comfortingly false narratives, trust those who ease our fears, even as they lead us astray, and dismiss those who force us to confront uncomfortable truths. Thinking becomes a painful burden. It demands energy and courage to face what lurks in the shadows of our mind. And beneath it all lies the desperate, infantile craving for salvation. a savior to come and fix everything, to hand us the answers, to tell us what to do in our darkest hour. We often deny it, but deep down, it's there. That's why, when someone appears confident, despite feeling empty inside, many follow them without hesitation. Because that image of authority taps into something ancient, something tribal, something instinctive, a paternal figure who seems to guide us amid chaos. And therein lies the tragedy. The unaware, the ignorant. They understand this in ways words can't capture. They don't analyze it logically like you are now. They feel it. They sense it in their bones and act on it. That's why they don't second guess. That's why they wear smiles even as everything crumbles. Because they know most people aren't truly seeking real solutions. They just want a face that doesn't tremble. Do you see how profound the problem really is? It's not only that the unqualified rise, it's that, collectively, we propel them forward. Not with applause, but with silent acceptance. Not necessarily through votes, but through resignation. It's easier to mutter, "It is what it is," than to confront a system that must be dismantled, piece by piece. And what becomes of those truly capable? The ones who could lead with clarity, insight, and integrity. They remain in the shadows. Why? Because often, they possess one trait despised by the system: brutal honesty. The willingness to speak uncomfortable truths, admit mistakes, show vulnerability, traits that, in a world that prizes false security, are regarded as political suicide. Admitting that you do not possess all the answers, that you depend on others, that inaccuracies and mistakes are part of existence, these are often perceived as signs of weakness. Yet, in truth, they represent the pinnacle of true intelligence. But let's descend further into the shadows. Let's confront an even more sinister force: functional narcissism. This is the dark ability some incompetent individuals wield to twist their bloated ego into a formidable shield against critique. They remain unyielding, indestructible. Nothing can penetrate their armor. They stumble, they falter, yet refuse to mend their ways. They fail, yet cling to their delusions of infallibility. This is the darkest irony. This self-perceived invulnerability cloaks a fragile core, a hidden brokenness that festers beneath the surface. Such a leader, surface-minded and charismatic, projects strength, an illusion of control that most mistake for true authority. But what lurks beneath is a soul shattered long ago, patching itself with a facade of dominance. These figures become idols of shifting clay, serving the agendas of those who elevate them, reinforcing the oppressive status quo. They lull the masses into complacency with hollow promises, masking the rot within. And you, who have awakened from the slumber, who can no longer fall for these masquerades, bear the heavy burden and the rare privilege of acting with true discernment. This is not about beating them at their own game. It is about seeing through the darkness and resisting the shadows. They have the deck manipulated against you, a sinister game played outside the light of scrutiny. It's about constructing hidden spaces where real confrontation is feared, where critical thinking, authentic humility, and true collaboration are suppressed and rewarded with silence. And that begins with a single choice: yours. Because the grim reality most refuse to face is this: with every moment you remain silent in the face of incompetence, every time you refuse to challenge, to disturb, to question, the very foundation of your oppression grows stronger. It feeds on your fear, your caution, your self-imposed imprisonment. Yes, the burden is heavy. It's exhausting, maddening, isolating, but it's also the only path to reclaiming what's been taken from you. Not through rage or resentment, but through ruthless clarity, a vision that pierces beyond the superficial veneer of power. The incompetent may hold a microphone, bask in the spotlight, wear their hollow suits, bask in applause that echo emptily. They're missing the vital element: depth. They lack long-term vision, roots that grip the darkness, and inevitably their facade crumbles. You have a choice: remain a passive observer or become a creator of the chaos. Will you stay in the shadows, merely commenting from the sidelines? Or will you get your hands dirty, forge your own path through the shadows? Because true change isn't born from outside upheaval. It's birthed from an unyielding internal resolve, not to conform, not to surrender, not to imitate the mediocrity that surrounds you. Keep your eyes open, even when others sink into blindness. If you ever question your value amid this relentless darkness, remember this: true intelligence never comforts easily. It unsettles at first, yet it's the only force that leaves scars when the chaos subsides. And the chaos always recedes into shadows. But don't turn away just yet, because if you've persisted this long, there's a reason, a grim, undeniable purpose. It's no accident you're not here simply because some inner daemon yearns to understand this twisted game, to shatter the chains, to escape a life where mediocrity festers and talent withers in silence. What you're about to hear is not an ending but a new beginning, an ominous journey into the depths. Ignore the system. Forget the hollow politicians, the feckless bosses, the narcissists draped in suits. Instead, peer into yourself, gaze deeply into the shadows within, and ask the only question that truly matters: which version of you has been running your existence? Is it the fearless, awakened, unsettling force, or the dormant, resigned shell that conforms to the expected? Look again. Ask yourself, have you been controlled by the brave, relentless core, or by the numb, compliant image, shaped by fear and conformity? Prepare for the final, cruel twist. This moment divides into two paths. Yes, the weak attempt to ascend into the abyss. The system may praise them, but there's one thing that no one can take from you: your perception, your awareness, the way you view the world. And that's where true rebellion begins. Do you want to break the cycle? Really? Then stop waiting for the world to change. Start by changing yourself, not from the tired cliché of be the best version of yourself, but from something much more profound. Turn off your automatic obedience. Stop that reflex of lowering your head, staying silent, or believing your discomfort is a weakness, when in fact it's proof that you're still awake. You don't need to shout. You don't need a loudspeaker. What you need is clarity, unwavering principles, the ability to look at an empty leader, and, instead of admiring or envying them, see them with clear compassion. Recognize them for what they truly are: a product of collective fear, an actor in a crumbling play. And you're not obligated to applaud the performance. Start building your autonomy, not from anger but from intelligence. Surround yourself with people who challenge you with ideas, not those who entertain with noise. And when you encounter someone with genuine competence, true ethics, true thought, don't ignore them. Support them, spread their message, protect them, because those are the ones the system attempts to silence first. And if you ever feel isolated in this, remember this moment you're watching this video. And if you've made it this far, trust me, you're not alone. There are others just like you. Those who think, those who observe, those who have grown tired of the hollow spectacle of decorated idiocy and suppressed talent lurking within shadows. I challenge you, if this video stirred something within you, if it pricked that dark nerve you've tried to silence, leave your mark in the comments. But do not explain, do not justify, do not argue. Simply write this phrase: I've already seen the darkness. That's enough. That will be your sign that you are awake, that you no longer need proof, that you've glimpsed the truth lurking beneath the facade, and that now you must decide what to do with it. If you dare to delve deeper into these unsettling truths, subscribe, not out of obligation, but because this space is for those who refuse to buy into the lie, for those who don't seek a spectacle, but seek clarity in the darkness. And if you know someone still applauding the blind and incompetent, send them this video, not to sway them, but to plant a seed of doubt. Sometimes, a single shadow of doubt can shatter an entire lifetime of programming. Thank you for enduring this far. Truly, many turn away in the first few moments, but you remained. Your presence speaks volumes. It reveals you are ready. So, I leave you with one final image picture: a room filled with people, standing ovation, clapping for someone on stage, a figure of authority, a symbol, a name cast in bold light. But you do not applaud, not because you despise them, nor because you envy them, but because you see what others refuse to see: the darkness behind the curtain. That is your strength, your silence, your discernment, your clarity amid the chaos. While the show continues, you are already outside, preparing to carve a path away from the noise, toward the shadows that conceal what is real. See you in the next video, or perhaps not. It all depends on whether you choose to remain awake or fall back into slumber. The choice is yours.